Now, I know many people who take on any sort of challenge will often do it to raise money. And there was certainly that sort of charitable side to your nature as well. But you decided not necessarily to focus on the money part. Why was that?
A lot of people asked me when I was sort of coming back, when I started moving a bit more and telling people what I was doing. And they all said, you must do this for charity, you must do this for charity. And I agree. But I didn't want to ask people for money. I didn't want to ask them for a PIN number. I didn't want to set up something online where people could donate, brilliant as it is, or ask people, I'm going to do something that I want to do. Can you open your purse or wallet, take a note out and hand it to me? I just wouldn't be comfortable by doing that. And I was lying in bed one night. It was early hours of the morning, just lying there. And then I thought, well, why don't I get people to donate a pint of blood? I thought, great, it doesn't cost anything. It's life-changing for the person that receives it. And it's something tangible and it'll make you feel really good once you've done it. So then I came up with a campaign called Fancy Sharing a Pint. So instead of sharing a pint of beer, half a coffee, glass of water, whatever it's going to be, it was right, okay, I want you to roll your sleeve up, give me a pint of blood. Well, when I say me, I mean to the blood service. I don't actually take it myself because I thought if I did fail event, someone might ask me for the blood back and I never wanted that. And I just asked people to register. So I thought, I've got 40 days, 10 pints will be quite easy, 100 pints will be really challenging. But I thought, no, I'll go for 1,000 pints. And I just bombarded the social media platforms. Everybody I knew, people I didn't know, was talking to the pets, anybody about asking for a pint of the blood. And I was fortunate enough that it sort of people took it to the heart. We got donations all over the UK, into Europe, further afield. And Chris Evans on his radio show, he backed it as well, and we got over 10,000 people to donate blood, which I think every pint or just under every pint can save 3 strangers' lives. It was extremely rewarding.
That's incredible. And from Chris Evans to Women Today, well done you.
Well, I know
it's only up from here.
Absolutely, I know he inspires to come on this show. So, Chris, I've beaten you to this one first.
Still the ginger, though, you know. Interesting, you're telling me off air. I didn't quite realise the figures. That it's a really low percentage of people that do donate blood at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, it's under 2% of the population, but it's just a wonderful thing to do. It's safe, it's hygienic. It helps people who are in desperate need, people who've just given birth, who've been in a motorbike accident, a car crash. A lot of people have got cancer, and it's only like having your nails clipped. So if you've never done it before, just get online, blood.co.uk. We've got great places over here where you can donate. And I can assure you, you will come out there moonwalking, doing backflips, thinking that's the best thing I've ever done. And you keep doing it as well. There's no reason not to do it.
And it went from that then to slightly changing what you were raising as such and what you were sort of trying to raise awareness of as a result of a friend of yours. Just tell us about this.
Yeah, well, the blood had sort of donations that had taken off, and then I worked with Anthony Nolan charity. My next event was another IronMan, another one, my second. And that was called Bone Idol. You provide the blood, I'll do the sweat and tears. And I wanted to get 140 people to register, and we got over 400 to register on that, so that worked really well. And then recently, I did an event, Wales Ironman, where we did Bone Idol. And I'd met this a mutual friend the day before for lunch with his wife and family. Really nice bloke. First time I'd met him, and then bizarrely at the finishing line we crossed over within a handful of seconds between each other. When I say a handful of seconds, I was a few minutes behind him. And he was a great bloke. Celebrated with this. So this was the end of September in 16. But by December, this guy's 42, 2 young kids, beautiful wife. He'd been diagnosed with leukemia. So this from a really ultra-fit bloke to being in desperate need of help to recover. And it's been a tough, challenging journey for him. And then early this year, he was looking for a stem cell donor. And he hooked up with a charity called DKMS, which is a global database for people who are, I say, in desperate need. And want a second chance at life to see if they can be matched only 1 in 3 have somebody in the family that can help them. So 2 out of 3 need somebody else. And they got this global database, and I thought I should be able to do something here and help out. So the next goal was to enter the world's hardest Ironman, which was in the Lakes a couple of weeks ago. And rather than do miles, I thought if I convert it to kilometres, that means my goal's higher. So 140 miles is 226 kilometres. Right, 226 people to join the swab team and see if we can help Pete out. And so far we're just at over 300, but hopefully after today we're going to be over 400, 500, maybe 1,000.
And what do people have to do? I know we've talked about having to what you have to go through to go on the register before, and we were talking about 16 to 30-year-olds, weren't we, Christy? Because that's just like a mouth swab. Does this one take over 30s?
Yes, it does. Apparently it can be registered up to 61, and I think they'll take people up to 55. But it's just incredibly easy. To me, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever not to be on this register, because all you do is just click online. They send you this pack out, and all you do is swab your mouth. So anybody out there that's listening that brushes their teeth, it's even easier to do than that. So if you brush your teeth once, twice a day, you'll be able to do this. And all you do is take a swab, put it back in the bag, seal it, pop it back in the post office, and away you go. Hopefully within 6 weeks you're on the register, and then if you're absolutely blessed, you could be picked and chosen to save someone's life. And there'd be no better feeling on the planet than being picked and to have that done.
It's just an incredible attitude that you have and an incredible outlook. I have to ask you, though, going back to, obviously we've talked about the fact you broke your back, and then you did these Ironman competitions. Just let people know exactly what's involved in an Ironman competition.
Well, the last one was, that was in the Lake District, and there was only 250 people, and it started at 4:30 in the morning. So I woke up at 1:30. I always have a rice pudding and a beetroot shot. I don't have that every morning, just on these days. And then we jumped into Windermere Lake at, say, 4:30, and it was quite calm. And there was 2 laps, and normally it's 2.4 miles, but this was 2.8 miles. But the second lap, it got really windy, so it took about 20 minutes longer to swim, so it was about an hour and a half. So we jumped out of there, you peel your wetsuit off, and then you jump on your bike, and it was in that storm Hector was on, so the winds were it was 80, 100 mile an hour winds, and I've got 114 miles to ride, 14,000 feet of climbing over all the passes in the Lake District, and I set off, and after 20 minutes my bike broke. So I was like, oh no, my day's over. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, done all this, and my only thought was, I've got to come back here next year and do it again, because there's no way I'm not finishing this. Never not finished one before. So I limped back to transition. My seat post had broken, so it was down at the bottom, and it's a part that you just don't carry. So wheeled my bike back into transition, and we looked at it and we thought, no, we're not going to be able to fix this. And then one of the fathers of one of the competitors came along. He went, I think I might be able to do that. So he shot off, and he had an old BMX on the back of a camper van, and he dismantled that, came back over. Legend this guy was. I struggled to put air in my tyres, and this guy's rebuilding my bike for me. So he puts his clip on, tightens my seat post up, gets some duct tape on it, straps it up, hands my bike back, and goes, off you go, lad. Fantastic, back in the game. So I set off, and I'm in last place. I'm miles behind everyone. It's belting it down, freezing. All I see, I didn't see anyone for an hour and a half. I just saw 4 people come back saying, it's too windy and dangerous out there. And you have cut-off times. So I was chasing that. And thankfully I managed to catch up to it, but it was a really tough ride. The wind was blowing over to the other side of the road. I honestly thought the event was going to get cancelled, and it normally takes me, I don't know, about 6-7 hours on the ride. It took over 9, so limped back in about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then a quick change. My sister's there, who was great, and a friend of mine. They're cheering on. The most enthusiastic supporters in Ironman world, these two are. And then we had to set off, and the marathon was a run up to the top of Scarfell Pike and back down again. When I say run, it's more like a shuffle. So shuffling along, and at the bottom of the mountain you get checked by a doctor, and you have to have a backpack on with like a silver blanket, hat, clothes, compass, torch. So I've got my kit on, and I had my food with me, and I put it down to get checked, and I set off, and I forgot my food. So I started climbing this mountain. I'd been sort of going 14, 15 hours. I'm ravenous, and there's nothing to eat apart from heather in a stream next to me. I thought I'm not going to get much energy from that. And so eventually got to the top of the mountain. You give your name in, get checked, and then start coming back down again. Came back down the mountain, think, wow, I'm going to finish this. And I had till midnight to finish it. And this is about 10:30. And it was going dark, and I'd put my torch down. I'd forgotten that as well. I'd taken my jacket off. So I'm running along in the dark, couldn't see anything. I couldn't lift my feet because I was all off-road. So I couldn't make sure I didn't stumble on any roots or anything like that. And I saw this Spanish guy who was lost with his torch. So great. So I tagged on with him. And then we just sort of we went in the last couple of miles together, and I finished at 11:27 that night. So,
and your back is okay?
It's all right, yeah. I do think of my eyebrows a lot when I think about my back. So.